slightly late to the game, not gonna lie, thanks to shipping, availability and whatnot here in Singapore. But we finally got our hands on it, the flagship. Let's take a look at the Lenovo Legion 7. Now first up, we have to talk about the design, and in comparison to the Legion 5 Pro that we reviewed, this is definitely far more minimalistic. There's just the Legion logo on the corner of the lid along with the small Lenovo logo in the opposite corner. The laptop features their storm grey color and it pretty much encompasses the entire chassis. Honestly, if you were to remove the Legion logo, it will actually look pretty much like your average business laptops nowadays. It's that minimalist of a design. But it does have a trick up its sleeve and you can clearly see it behind me. Once you open up the lid and power it on, you'll be greeted with all that RGB. Honestly, I do quite like the implementation of it here, especially the RGB strip that runs the front perimeter of the laptop. Not only is it nice and diffused, but it's actually quite nice to see your laptop stand out in the darkness with that RGB. But of course, if you don't like it, you can always go into Corsair iQ and turn it all off. It's up to you. As for the display, this is pretty much the same panel that you will find on the Legion 5 Pro. So that means 16 inches, IPS, 16:10 aspect ratio, 2560x1600 resolution, 165Hz refresh rate, 3 millisecond response time, up to 500 nits in brightness, 100% sRGB coverage, HDR 400, Dolby Vision and Nvidia G-Sync support. In essence, it's a fantastic display just like on the Legion 5 Pro. Be it just general usage, video consumption or gaming, which arguably you'll be doing a lot of, it's all great. Now I've mentioned this before, but Quad HD at this display size is a very nice welcome because it not only gives you a nice bump in resolution over Full HD, but it also doesn't come with the issues that 4K panels have with window scaling. And not only that, it also complements well with the hardware inside. And yes, we've got the top of the line model here, an AMD Ryzen 9 5900HX, 32GB of RAM running at 3200MHz, and Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 capable of drawing 165 watts of power and 1TB of PCIe SSD storage. Now one thing I do have to mention which I didn't really cover in the Legion 5 Pro review is the mux switch. Now the Legion 5 Pro and the Legion 7 technically doesn't really have a mux switch per se. At least there's the functionality of a mux switch, just that it's not implemented conventionally. Using Lenovo Vantage, you can toggle Nvidia Optimus on or off via the hybrid mode, and this I guess is technically just like a mux switch, except it requires the laptop to be rebooted every time you change it, and it definitely is unlike other laptops where this functionality is controlled via Nvidia control panel itself. But nevertheless, as long as you use the performance profile on the Legion 7, you can be rest assured that the system will pump that full 165 watts to the RTX 3080. Now we did dive a little bit deeper into all the testings and the benchmarks that we usually do, so we'll let the numbers speak for themselves and give my throat a little bit of a break. There will be timestamps in the video should you want to skip between the different sections, so here we go and see you in a bit. As you can tell, performance in creative applications are just generally faster across the board when compared to the Legion 5 Pro, and that's mainly thanks to the Ryzen 9 and RTX 3080 combo compared to the Ryzen 7 and RTX 3070 combo on the Legion 5 Pro. And honestly, the results aren't that far behind my desktop as well, which houses an AMD Ryzen 9 3900 XT. As for gaming, it is about 10 to 15% better performing in terms of frame rates. All in all, gaming is just extremely enjoyable on the Legion 7, especially more so with the 165Hz display. But now, we need to talk about temperatures. In Cinebench, where it's more of a short but high intensity load, the Ryzen 9 pulled up to about 85 watts of power but still remained just around 90 degrees Celsius throughout the 10 minutes. Not too shabby. In DaVinci Resolve, the Ryzen 9 maintained a more conservative power draw of 45 watts throughout the entire render, which definitely helped with temperatures, hovering around the mid-80s degrees Celsius instead. Now we aren't too sure if Lenovo did tweak the software settings behind the scenes, because this is definitely not the same behavior we saw on the Legion 5 Pro. That Ryzen 7 ran at 100 degrees Celsius the entire time throughout the whole render on DaVinci Resolve. This is definitely much better temperatures and still renders faster, no less. As for gaming, you can also expect very reasonable temperatures for both the CPU and the GPU in both the standard and performance profile. But there's one drawback on the performance profile, and that's fan noise. It does get quite loud. Here's a quick listen to the laptop running on both the standard profile and the performance profile. My suggestion? Just use a pair of headphones. Now as for features, just like on the Legion 5 Pro, you also get this True Strike keyboard, which feels fantastic for both typing and gaming, along with a large trackpad that just performs great. Personally, I don't need the numpad and I prefer a centralized trackpad, but nevertheless, still great. Combine all of that with the surprisingly great set of speakers, it does really make for an enjoyable gaming experience. So of course, you do get a 720p webcam with the Legion 7, and its quality is as you would expect from a 720p webcam, and much like other webcams on other gaming laptops out there. Microphones are also just about average, passable, decent enough, and all in all, if you just need a webcam, it's there and it works. However, the implementation of the eShutter is really nice, for it physically detaches the circuitry of the webcam from the laptop. As for ports, most of them are located around the back, which helps with the cable management, especially if you're intending to use this as a desktop replacement. And you do definitely get plenty of ports to go around. Thus far, I've only had praises for this laptop, and very well so, because I enjoyed this laptop as much as I did with the Legion 5 Pro. But it does have one major drawback, and that's battery life. By default, if you use the laptop out of the box, the laptop will be using the dedicated RTX 3080 graphics for display and will run at a full 165Hz. In this mode, you'll get basically around 3 hours of battery life at most. You can however turn on hybrid mode, which essentially turns on NVIDIA Optimus, and if you also change the refresh rate down to the standard 60Hz, you then get much better battery life, or so it's supposed to be. But in practice, it's actually going to be the same, and the reason for that is actually quite weird. It has everything to do with IQ, and more specifically, Corsair software background process. For some reason, that background process drains the battery life like a leech. You can literally be doing nothing on any of the battery settings and the laptop would still only last 3 hours. So, in order to actually achieve anything near what Lenovo claims, you have to stop and disable that Corsair software background process. Only then would you actually get about 6 hours of battery life with hybrid mode turned on, which is finally as expected from the 80Wh battery. Just note that with this workaround, you can't really customize the RGB any longer, so it's up to you to decide which is more important. But hopefully this can be fixed with a software update from Lenovo or Corsair themselves. But apart from the weird battery issue, this is an awesome gaming laptop, and it can be kitted up with an RTX 3080 capable of drawing 165 watts of power. It's just got everything that you will want in a gaming laptop. A minimalistic design, a great display, and awesome performance. You'll definitely have an enjoyable gaming experience on the Legion 7. Now yes, it is also definitely going to be a little bit more expensive compared to the Legion 5 Pro, but overall, this laptop as a whole is arguably a better laptop as well. But what are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to, do check out our affiliate links in the description. If you do, thanks for your support. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Till the next one. See ya!